Hello class, welcome back and again in our online discussion in this course Applied Economics. And we are now in lesson 4 and we will talk specifically about manufacturing industry. So here's the expectation of this lesson. After going through this module or lesson, you are expected to define manufacturing business, understand the importance of manufacturing industry on the economy, and lastly, apply business principles, tools, and techniques in the manufacturing industry. So before we will start our lesson, we will have a retest first. So question number 1. It is the definition of manufacturing business. A. The manufacturing business is any business that uses components, parts, or raw materials to make a finished good. B. The manufacturing business is the business which transforms inputs into outputs through the use of tools, human labor, machinery, and chemical processing. Letter C. Manufacturing business includes the process of turning raw materials into finished goods. And letter D. All of the above. So what is the definition of manufacturing business? So the answer for number 1 is letter D, all of the above. Question number 2. Below are the examples of manufacturing business except A. Machinery and equipment, B. Rubber and plastic products, C. Wearing apparel, or D. Medical clinic. So the below are the examples of manufacturing business except. So the answer for number 2 is letter D, medical clinic. Let's proceed to question number 3. It refers to the cost advantage experienced by a firm when it increases its level of output. A. Cost efficiencies, B. Economies of scale, C. Budget constraints, or letter D. Production cost. So it refers to the cost advantage experienced by a firm when it increases its level of output. The moment the business or firm increases its level, so what they call in this cost advantage experience. So the answer for number 3 is letter B, economies of scale. Question number 4. These are the effects of economies of scales on the production cost. So what will happen to the production cost if there's a economies of scale? A. It reduces the per unit fixed cost. B. It reduces the per unit variable cost. Letter C. As a result of increased production, the fixed cost gets spread over more output than before. Or letter D. None of the above. So the following are the effects or effect of economies of scale on the production cost, except. So the answer for number 4 is letter D. It means that letter A, B, and C were the effects of the economies of scale on the production cost. Last number 5. According to PSA, the economy dropped by 16.5% in the second quarter of 2020. So what was the performance of the manufacturing industry? Letter A decreased by 21.3%. Letter B decreased by 33.5%. Or letter C increased by 1.6%. Or letter D increased by 26.5%. So again, according to PSA, the economy dropped by 16.5% in the second quarter of 2020. So what was the performance of the manufacturing industry? So the performance of the manufacturing industry increased by 21.3%. So please count your score, and again, I would like to congratulate those students who got this perfect score. Now let's proceed to the lesson of this topic about the manufacturing industry. So a manufacturing business is any business that uses components, parts, or raw materials to make a finished good. Okay, so this is the result of the, or this is the finished good after we process the components, parts, and raw materials. Okay, so these are the examples of manufacturing business, the manufactured business. And a finished good or finished product is this one, for example, the car. Okay, so again, a manufacturing business is any business that uses components, parts, or raw materials to make a finished product, just like examples here. So these finished goods can be sold directly to the consumers or other manufacturing business to make different products. Okay, so we need this steering wheel, the tire, and the cover or body of the car. And we have this finished goods. So this is the examples of manufacturing business. Also, for example, this is the finished product. So we also have raw materials with the tire. Okay, so that's the meaning of the manufacturing business. Okay, it's different from retailer or retailing business, in which we are going to discuss in the following module or lesson. So manufacturing business in today's world are normally comprised of machines, robots, computers, and humans that all work in a specific manner to create a product according to Hill 2020. Okay, so there are other manufacturing business or firms uses machines or robots or computers. Just like for example in the car industry, so majority of them are using machines and robots for manufacturing the car. So the large-scale manufacturing, for example, allows for the mass production of goods using assembly, we call it assembly line process. They are using the assembly line process and advanced technology. And I think you are already seeing this in the social media, for example, in YouTube or in Facebook or in TikTok. They are using this assembly line process and advanced technology in mass production. They are using this for the mass production. Okay, for example, car or other machines or computers or any technologies. Okay, and then efficient manufacturing techniques enable manufacturer to take advantage of economies of scale and producing more units at a lower cost, for example. So if we are using these machines and other advanced technologies, so we have this, we can save a an expenses instead of giving this salary to the employees or human worker. So other business, they are using this assembly line processes and advanced technologies. So there is an advantage in using this. Okay, it minimizes the expenses, and that is the advantage of economies of scale of producing more units at a lower cost. So that's one thing that we observe in some products, because they sell it at a cheaper price, and we question ourselves, how come they sell these products with a cheap price? It's because of they call it advantage of economies of scales. By what? Producing more units at a lower cost. So now let's talk about these economies of scale. So the economies of scales refer to the cost advantage. Okay. So once you hear the word economies of scale, it means that there is a cost advantage. So this is a positive term. Okay. Again, economies of scale refers to the cost advantage experienced by a firm or any business when it increases its level of output. The moment that the business or any firm increases its level of output, it means that they produce numerous numbers of output in a short period of time. So they can have this, it lessen their expenses. Okay, and that's what we call economies of scale. So the advantage arises due to the inverse relationships between the per unit fixed cost and the quantity produced. Okay, so it means that the greater quantity, okay, quantity means the number of the output or finished product, the greater quantity of the output produced, the lower the per unit fixed cost. Okay, so the economies of scale would also result in a fall on the average variable cost, which means the average non-fixed cost. When we say variable cost, it means that it is not a fixed cost. Okay, because there are two kinds of cost, fixed cost and variable cost. So the other term for variable cost is non-fixed cost. So it is an as an output and increases. So this is brought about by the operational efficiencies as a result of an increase in the scale of production. The moment that we produce more numbers or quantity of products, there is an advantage, or the term it is a cost advantage, and that is the economies of scale. So again, also the economies of scale can be implemented by a firm at any stage of the production process. So there are many production processes or steps. So in this case, production refers to the economic concept of manufacture and involves all activities related to a commodity. And the business can decide to implement economies of scale in its marketing divisions by hiring a large number of marketing professionals. And the business can also adopt the same in its input sourcing divisions by moving from human labor to machine labor. Okay? That's why there's a lot of business firm chooses, or they have this division, or they make some changes instead of hiring lots of human labor or human workers into a machine labor. So what is the advantage of using machine labor or machinery instead of human workers? They can produce lots of products or outputs. That will result to economies of scales, because this is a situation in which a firm have this cost advantage because they produce a lot of output, okay, compared to human. Okay, so there's a limitation for the human worker. Okay, so now let's proceed. There are many effects of economies of scale on the production costs. So what are those effects or result of having this economies of scale? First, it reduces the per unit fixed cost. Okay, it reduces what? Per unit fixed costs. As a result of the increased production, again, when we hear the word economies of scale, there is an increase, right? Increase production, and the fixed cost gets spread over more output than before. Okay, because there is an increasing production. Number two is it reduces per unit variable cost also. Not just the fixed cost, but also the variable cost. So this occurs as the expanded scale of the production increases the efficiency of the production processes. Okay, why there's an efficiency? For example, if you are using the machines or advanced technology, the more they have this efficiency. Okay, because they have this common output compared to human employees. Now let's proceed to manufacturing industry in the Philippines. We will focus now in our own country, in the Philippines. So according to the Board of Investment, the Philippine manufacturing industry remains to be the most important sector for long-term productive employment and value-added generation and innovation. So it has the highest multiplier effects. They called it as the multiplier effect. We already mentioned this or discussed about this term multiplier effect. Okay, there's an effect in the multiple areas, not just in the same field of the business, but also with the other field. Okay, there's one thing happened, and there is a multiplier effect. There's an effect with the different um, areas, okay, of the business. So the manufacturing is called the engine of the economy. Once there is a manufacturing industry in a certain country, it has a multiplier effect. There is an advantage also with the other business field. And many services exist because of the manufacturing. Hence, many service jobs will also disappear if manufacturing business disappears also. Okay, so there's an effect. Now let's proceed to the also about the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing also industry creates more quality and gainful employment. So that it has extensive linkages not only among its subsectors but also with the other industries. Not to mention that it can further make the services and logistics sectors more active. And also there's an increasing manufacturing activities also have spillover effects of inducing additional demand from the, for example, agricultural and resource-based industry. Okay. So the more that there is a manufacturing industry, the more also have this opportunity for the any person who is looking for a job. Okay. Now let's proceed to this next slide. And this is the data in the year 2016 and 2017. Okay. So the latest annual survey of the Philippine Business and Industry, or ASPBI, showed a total of 24,200. Okay, total 24,200 manufacturing establishment in the year 2017. So this represents a 13.6%. Okay, it represents what? 13.6%. And again, this represents a 13.6% decrease from 28,003. Okay, if we will compute this one, the percentage or the growth rate, it decreases to 13.6%. Okay, from 2016 to 2017. There's a decreasing, okay, of the data. And again, this is they have this 13.6% decrease from the 20,003 manufacturing establishment recorded in 2016. Okay, so among industry groups, the manufacture of other food products, okay, for example, food products, accounts for 7,880 what establishment, or 32.6% of the total. And the manufacture of, for example, beverage, followed by 2,407 establishment, or 9.9%. And also in the printing and service, example service activities related to printing ranked third with the 1,581, or 6.5% establishment. And the total employment generated by the manufacturing establishment reached to 1.3 million in 2017. So that is the, again, advantage, the good side of the manufacturing industry. The more there is a manufacturing industry, the more that there is a job opportunities. It generates employment to the, for example, in the jobless person or people within the certain location or place. Again, as to records, there are many establishments arise because of these food products. Okay, this is the top one. This is the second, beverage products, and the third is a printing and service, and the fourth is the total employment generated. So the main contributors to the decline, there is also a negative side here. In the recent data about the Philippine economy, the gross domestic product or GDP, again, this term is already discussed in the macro perspective. Okay. So, in the recent data about the Philippine economy, the gross domestic product or GDP growth rate dropped by 16.5% in the second quarter of 2020. So, these are the main contributors to the decline. Okay, first is the manufacturing with negative 21.3%. And as to construction with 33.5%. And lastly, in the transportation and storage with 59.2%. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something on this very important topic about the manufacturing industry. Okay, so let's proceed to the valuing part of this and we'll reflect on this quote. No matter how great the talent or efforts, some things just take time. And you can produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. It is from Warren Buffett. So thank you for listening and don't forget to answer the evaluation quiz. Bye bye.